So a few weeks ago, I made a video reacting to your guys' hot takes before the 2025 NBA season, and I was able to critique some of those hot takes that haven't really aged the best. Well, today, I'm going to look at my hot takes before this NBA season started, and I'm definitely about to make fun of myself back from September. And this came out on September 24th, 2024. I believe I pre-recorded this too. I remember being away for the Karl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle trade, and I know it didn't happen yet by the time this video came out. So let's get into this and let's just see how bad some of my hot takes have aged. NBA season is right around the corner. A couple videos ago, I reacted to your guys' hot takes, but you're going nobody's. You can react to all of them in the comments below. Please let me know what Brooklyn Nets have about them. So we're going to start off with one that you probably see in the thumbnail. I think the Brooklyn Nets have a chance to be one of the worst teams of all time this season. I think they are going to be worse than last year's Detroit Pistons team. So the Nets last year went 32-50. They traded Mikal Bridges this offseason to the New York Knicks. They lost Lonnie Walker to the Celtics. Keita Bates-Diop also went to the Knicks. Their big additions were Bojan Bogdanovic in that trade. They signed Killian Hayes, Shake Milton in that trade, and Zaire Williams in a trade with the Grizzlies. And yeah, this team got worse this offseason. Last year, the Pistons won 14 games. They were the worst team in the NBA. I think the Nets can rival that team. They're one major injury away to a Nick Claxton or Cam Thomas to having no depth to replace them. I also think they are going to be massive sellers at the trade deadline. So role players like Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Dennis Schroeder could all be off the team after February, and we could see some of the worst rosters we've ever seen on this team after that deadline. And if younger guys like Dariq Whitehead, Jalen Wilson, or Noah Clowney don't step up, I think this team could rival that 2010 New Jersey Nets team and go 12-70. Obviously, Cam Thomas is a good player. He can win them some games, but they want to lose. They want to end up getting Cooper Flagg. They have their draft pick, so they're okay losing. So I don't think Nets fans are going to get mad by me saying that. I'm just saying it's a hot take that the Nets could be a generational bad team this season. So all right, well, that was definitely not a good take, at least so far. I mean, the Nets are 23-50. They are a terrible team, but they're not like a generationally bad team like I said that they could have been this year. If I said that about the Utah Jazz or the Washington Wizards, that would have been a better take. But yeah, saying it for the Brooklyn Nets, a team that has been competitive all year, that have had injuries to Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton, and they've still been competitive in games. They still traded away Dennis Schroeder and Dorian Finney-Smith like I hinted that they may, and they've still been competitive. Like, they're not good whatsoever, and they're going to end up winning around 25 games this year. But I thought there was a chance they were going to win under 20 games and maybe under 15 games. So that was definitely an L take by me. But Nets fans, you can let me know. What season would you rather have? Would you rather have the season I predicted them to have, where they were going to have around 15 wins, or would you rather end up with 25 wins? Because I will say, if the Nets don't get lucky in the lottery and they end up dropping to pick 7, that'll be kind of a shame for a team that was basically starting their rebuild this year and wanted to put out one of the worst rosters in the NBA. I'm trying to think how the New Orleans Pelicans are going to just operate with all these wings this year and no big man depth. Their current center depth is Yves Missi, Daniel Tice, and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. They have so many wings. Like, they don't need Herb Jones, McCollum, Trey Murphy, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, right? So I do think a Brandon Ingram trade will happen this year, and it's tough to really match out money, right? Just like, how is someone going to take on $30 million of Brandon Ingram? How are the Pelicans going to get a big man back? And something I keep going down to, I think Brandon Ingram is going to somehow end up as a Portland Trailblazer by the end of this season. Now, Ingram was traded, and I was kind of just throwing a dart at a dartboard predicting what team he could get traded to. I know a popular destination was the Atlanta Hawks, and they were interested in him at one point. You could have maybe said the Golden State Warriors. It ended up being the Toronto Raptors, and I'm glad Portland didn't trade for Brandon Ingram. So let's see why I thought this could have made sense. It makes sense, as the New Orleans Pelicans could want a Robert Williams, they could want a DeAndre Ayton in a trade, and maybe the Blazers, who do have a decent amount of draft capital, maybe they attach a first to get Brandon Ingram and get off of one of those bad contracts long-term, more so Ayton than Robert Williams. And the Pelicans are all for that, getting something in return for Ingram, who may leave for nothing in the offseason. But that has to result in the Blazers wanting Ingram on this team. It's kind of tricky there. I could see maybe Utah getting in the Brandon Ingram sweepstakes. They do have some center depth. I don't know if Atlanta would really want him whatsoever. So my hot take is Brandon Ingram really isn't on the Pelicans at the end of the year. And the only team I could figure out that has a center that could maybe want Brandon Ingram is the Blazers. So that's my hot take, as Brandon Ingram gets traded and it's somehow on the Portland Trailblazers by the end of the year. I mean, it was probably smart for both teams. I don't think New Orleans would have wanted the contract like DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, maybe they could have gotten a nice first round pick out of it, but they ended up getting a first from Toronto for Brandon Ingram. And Portland, with their emergence of Denny Avdia and Tumani Kamara this year, probably better off they didn't trade for Brandon Ingram to just get some short-term success. This is a hot take. I feel like the odds, though, are in my favor on this happening. I'm going to predict that Victor Wembanyama does not win Defensive Player of the Year this season. Wemby is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's minus 250 on some sports books, which is insane. Next highest would be Rudy Gobert, around plus 1,200. Then you have Bam, Evan Mobley, Chet, and Jaren Jackson Jr. And last year, we saw the debate between Rudy and Wemby come down to team success as well. The Timberwolves were one of the best defensive teams overall, while the Spurs weren't. So I don't think the Spurs really added too much to their defense this offseason. They added Harrison Barnes. They added Chris Paul. These two guys really aren't going to be great defenders next year. I think Stephon Castle should help the team defense, but if the Spurs team defense is still bottom 10 in the league, I wonder if that's going to be a narrative that somebody maybe that's opting for Bam Adebayo or Anthony Davis or Giannis Antetokounmpo to win that award, because those could be top 10, maybe even top 5 defenses in this league. So that's my hot take. Wemby doesn't get DPOY this year. I want to see him win the award. I want to see him somehow turn into the greatest defender of all time, but I'm going to say this year, that could go to Bam Adebayo. I'm feeling it's finally Bam's year. And speaking I was wrong about that. And while I was technically right in my hot take saying Wemby doesn't win DPOY, it was not for the reasoning that I said. The reason why Wemby isn't going to win the award is because he was ruled out with a health scare for the rest of the year, and he's not going to meet that 65-game threshold. If he hit that 65-game threshold, he was easily taking home that award. So I would say this is also a bad take by me. I said that it was Bam's year. I would say it's maybe a little bit better if I mentioned that it was Draymond's year or Evan Mobley or somehow Dyson Daniels' year, because those are the guys that are on top of the Defensive Player of the Year odds. So I will say this take, man, it's another, I think, L by me here. While I'm technically right, it's not for the reasons that I said. In defense, my next hot take is going to be that the New York Knicks have 2 players making all defensive teams this year. One being Mikal Bridges, the other one being OG Anunoby. So Mitchell Robinson is already out till December and January, which is going to really hurt the Knicks, and they're going to be forced to play more small ball. So Randall at the 5 offensively and OG Anunoby at the 4. But on defense, I do believe OG Anunoby is going to have to guard some centers. And in the playoffs on Joel Embiid, it worked out really well. When OG Anunoby was the primary defender on Joel Embiid, Embiid shot 7 of 21 from the field, 33%. The Knicks did a great job double teaming and being able to recover when he passes out of that double team. And having Mikal Bridges and either Josh Hart and DiVincenzo with Jalen Brunson, who knows his role in a pinch there, I think the Knicks could really excel at a small ball lineup. I think Mikal Bridges also, going back to him, he's not going to be relied on to being a top scoring option, at least not number 1 or number 2. So he can go back to what he was in 2022 with the Phoenix Suns and can be someone that finished top 3 in Defense Player of the Year voting. So I think Mikal Bridges is going to go back to that form. If OG Anunoby is healthy, I think he's going to be good enough to be on an all-defensive team. And my hot take here is that the Knicks, with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, get 2 players on an all-defensive team this year. Before we get back... Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a chance that OG could end up on an all-defensive team this year. I wouldn't say it's very likely that that happens. Mikal Bridges is coming nowhere near an all-defensive team appearance. Maybe if the Knicks still had Isaiah Hartenstein anchoring that defense, it could have helped out Mikal or OG look a little bit better on that end of the floor. Yeah, it's just kind of like this was before the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. The Knicks didn't have as much depth. Either way, though, this take has not aged well. If I said that the Thunder could have like 3 to 4 guys that can compete for an all-defensive team, and I brought up Alex Caruso, Dort, Shea, J-Dub, Case and Wallace, then that could have actually been a good hot take if I wanted to predict multiple players from the same team to end up on an all-defensive team. So, yeah, this one also hasn't aged the best whatsoever. This one is in the Eastern Conference, and you guys will get my full Eastern Conference standing prediction soon in my full official prediction video, but I'm going to say that the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets finished with a better record, both of those teams, than the Toronto Raptors. I got to stop doing like 2 hot takes in one, because saying that the Hornets and the Pistons, that's 2. If I just left it at the Pistons would be better than the Raptors, that hot take would have aged so well, but I threw the Hornets in there, and they're only 8 games back of the Raptors, but man, the Hornets, they've been disappointing this year. Now, the Raptors have some talent, but they are top heavy. After Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, it drops off a decent amount. And yes, they could get something out of Bruce Brown if he's not traded, or Grady Dick in year number 2, but I do think that the Hornets and Pistons, I know it's kind of funny, but I do think that they're both deeper than Toronto right now. Charlotte this offseason is getting a healthy LaMelo Ball back. They're getting a healthy Mark Williams. They drafted Tijon Salon, added Josh Green for basically free. They have a great backup center in Nick Richards as well, and I do think this team has the depth to withstand some injuries, and the big if, though, is LaMelo. You know what's funny? They didn't have the depth to withstand some injuries. They had their injuries this year, and we are watching players that we've never even heard of before get minutes for them this season. ball. If he could stay healthy, this Hornets team could flirt with the play-in tournament. And they also got a new head coach in Charles Lee, and Detroit also got a new head coach in JB Bickerstaff. They drafted Ron Holland 5th overall, signed veterans like Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, B-Ball Paul, and acquired Tim Hardaway Jr. I don't think that they're a great team either, but I do think they are going to have the development of their young guys to finish better than the Toronto Raptors. Like I said, it's against the grain, and I think it's a decent hot take right now. But I know Raptors fans are going to think that I hate them for obvious reasons. I like the Raptors. My next hot take. All right, well, yeah, I was lower on the Raptors because I didn't love their depth this year, and I was right about that because they had injuries to the top guys and they didn't have the depth to step up, and they ended up being one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. So going back to this hot take, I was right about it with the Detroit Pistons, but I was wrong about it with the Charlotte Hornets. Take is going to be that Dalton Knecht, who's currently 7th in Rookie of the Year odds, is going to... I love this one. I really did. Win that award. I do think he's going to be the best rookie from this draft class this season. The Lakers pretty much just added Christian Koloko this offseason. Spencer Dinwiddie went to the Mavs. Taurean Prince went to the Bucks. They re-signed Max Christie and LeBron James. Drafted Bronny as well. This team didn't really add too much. I do think Dalton Knecht, who was an older prospect coming out of Tennessee, is going to have a very large role for this Lakers team. And there's a lot of variance at this top for the Rookie of the Year discussion. While I do think Zachary Bisaccia can have a solid enough rookie year and the playing time to win this award, I think Dalton Knecht is going to be the scorer. He's going to be efficient out of the gate, and he's going to be playing on the biggest stage in the most popular market for the LA Lakers. That may help the narrative. The Lakers have never had any player in their franchise history win this award, and I do believe Dalton Knecht will be the first one this season. That's kind of crazy if that's true. Feel bad dunking on the Spurs. This is going to be, I guess, the second anti-Spurs thing in this video. All right, so yeah, I guess for me, I mean, if Dalton Knecht never gets traded, right, and they have to pull it back, maybe that helps out his mind and his mental aspect of the game, and he would have maybe ended up being more consistent. And if the Lakers didn't have Luka Doncic, maybe that would have helped him out. Either he definitely had his moments, especially in the beginning of the season, but it's just not going to happen. I'm not even sure or confident that he's going to end up on an all-rookie first team. I believe he will end up on an all-rookie second team. If I said Jalen Wells, that would have been somewhat impressive. Actually, that would have been insanely impressive. Nobody was predicting Jalen Wells to finish up there in the Rookie of the Year voting. I think Reese Shea is going to have a case. It's most likely going to Stephon Castle. So, yeah, I was wrong here with another one. I do believe that the San Antonio Spurs are going to be a bottom 3 team in the Western Conference. Like I said before, not too many big additions this offseason. Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul, while they're good players in their roles, I don't think are going to move the needle too much for San Antonio, and the West is maybe as talented as it's ever been. In my mind right now, there's a decent amount of teams that I think are better than the Spurs, and unless we're seeing a massive jump from a Devin Vassell or a Jeremy Sohan, or maybe something from Stephon Castle in his rookie season, I don't think the Spurs are better than the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies, the Thunder, the Lakers, the Suns, the Pelicans, the Kings. That's 9 teams right there, and I also believe Golden State's better, Houston's better, and what could be close, but I still think they're better right now, the LA Clippers. So I do think the Spurs are closer to the Jazz. Some of these Wemby highlights that I'm just watching as well are just on they don't even make any sense. I'm speechless trying to describe them from his rookie season. Blazers than they are to those teams right now. That's fine though. They just want to see a win increase from last year. I just think we have to pump the brakes a little bit on any San Antonio Spurs playoff predictions this season. Man, that may end up being true. Right now, they do have the 3rd worst record in the Western Conference. They are not falling to 14 or 15 in the West, and the reason why they are 13, Wemby ended up getting that blood clot, and he's out for the year. De'Aaron Fox was ruled out for the season. They've had multiple injuries this year, which I did factor in my prediction as well. I also had no idea they were ending up with De'Aaron Fox this year at the deadline. I didn't think Stephon Castle was going to be this good right away. So I do think Portland finishes with a better record than San Antonio. So I do think this hot take will age well. This has not been the greatest offseason for the Denver Nuggets. My other hot take is they are going to not be a top 4 team in the Western Conference throughout the regular season. Last year in the 2024 season, they finished tied with the OKC Thunder for the 1 seed in the West. They pretty much blew it towards the end of the year, losing that game to the San Antonio Spurs. And the Timberwolves just finished 1 game behind them, and then you had the Clippers 6 games behind them. So I do think they are going to be a little bit worse throughout the regular season. Jamal Murray's going to be rusty out of the gate like he usually is. He didn't play good in the Olympics. They lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He actually was rusty out of the gate. Their first-round pick, De'Ron Holmes, is going to be out for the season, and they lost Reggie Jackson as well. Now I'm excited about Russell Westbrook in this offense 100%. And I do think Christian Brown and Julian Strawther could have nice years this year with more important roles. I just think the Western Conference has gone so much better. It's going to be even more competitive at the top. And I think the Nuggets are going to slide down a little bit and maybe preserve some of their energy for a deeper playoff run than last year. So hot take, they're not a top 4 seed in the West just throughout the regular season. I still think they're a top 4 team in the West overall though. All right, so I mean the Nuggets are the 3 seed right now. There is a chance they could fall to 4 or 5. So I don't think this is the worst hot take in the world by any means. They can easily finish with the second best record in the Western Conference, but they got off to a rough start this year as well. So honestly, out of all the takes I've given in this video, this is probably up there with one of the best ones. So odds should be in my favor for this hot take, but I don't think that the Boston Celtics go back to the NBA Finals. The last team we saw go back to the NBA Finals for the second straight season were the 2019 Golden State Warriors when they were going to their 5th in a row. The Raptors didn't go back in 20. Lakers didn't go back 5 finals in a row. That is just like unheard of now. In 21, Bucks in 22, Warriors in 23, Nuggets in 24, and this Celtics team who just had 3 players playing the Olympics. Drew Holiday's getting a year older, Kristaps is already injured, Al Horford is getting up there in age as well, and the East is really good at the top with Milwaukee, New York, Philadelphia, Indiana, and some other teams. I don't believe that Boston is going to be able to make it to the NBA Finals. Conference Finals, yes, but we haven't seen it since the 2019 Warriors, and that team was so much different than any team we've seen win it all since. In my last hot... All right, well, I mean, the Boston Celtics, this take, we don't know if it's going to be right or not. The one team standing in front of them are the Cleveland Cavaliers. If the Cleveland Cavaliers win in the Eastern Conference Finals, this take will age well, and if Boston beats them, this take is going to age like milk. Take... The LA Lakers do not make the playoffs this season. When I was talking about the Spurs before, man, the Western Conference is so competitive. I do believe the LA Lakers will make it into the play-in tournament. And if there's an injury that goes their way, maybe they do make it. But I don't think they're a tier 1 team with Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, and OKC. I do believe they're at the end of tier 2. I like Phoenix more than them. I like Memphis more than them. That's 6 teams right there. So I think they're in that play-in tournament tier with the Pelicans, the Kings, the Warriors, the Rockets, and the Clippers. And I just don't like the additions from the Lakers this offseason. They're relying too much on a 40-year-old LeBron James. He's going to be 40 years old in December. Anthony Davis was extremely healthy last year. Their depth is very questionable. I'm a little bit out on the Lakers this year making the playoffs for the first time since the 2019 season. It would be the first time since Anthony Davis got traded to the Lakers in that 2019 offseason. So that... All right, well, yeah, I had no idea that they were trading for Luka Doncic. And you could say at the beginning of the year, were the Lakers a playoff team? I don't think that was 100%. I don't think we could have said that with 100% confidence because they got off to a good record start, but they were playing an easier schedule. Their defense looked really good, but they were pretty much around like the 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed when they ended up trading for Luka Doncic. And they are going to make the playoffs this year. I don't think they fall into the play-in tournament. You never know if they do fall into the play-in tournament. Maybe this take can still age correctly, but right now I'm going to say that's another L take. And that's me reacting to my hot takes before the NBA season started. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with what I said in this video. You can also let me know how well these takes have aged or how poorly these takes have aged. And if you did enjoy it, I appreciate you dropping a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.